We're now going to go through soft and strong letters, so tafkhim and tarqiq. Tarqiq being the soft letters and tafkhim being the heavy letters. We're going to, in the initial stage, just deal with the soft letters, tarqiq letters. There is a separate video for soft letters on the Tajweed playlist. So the idea behind the soft letters is to keep your tongue in a neutral position and low. You do not raise any part of the tongue when pronouncing the light letters. A lot of students, even the experienced readers, will begin to say the soft letters in a heavy manner, which is incorrect. So rather than saying be, there, they'll say ba, da, which is incorrect. So be, there, je, there, not the. Okay, there's a difference between the there and the the. Same with the there and the the, and same with se and so. Se, so. So what you need to do is ensure that you're not pronouncing, especially those letters like they have similar sounds, like the s sound, sin, zod, and the dot sound, which is the dal and the dod, that you don't pronounce them in the same way, especially when they are grouped together in the verses of the Quran. Because what you tend to do, if there is a tha with a dha, you will tend to read both of them heavy or both of them light. The other letters often people read in a strong manner are these letters here. So instead of saying la, they say la, and they say ma instead of me. Okay, so le, me, ne, he, we, and ye. Not la, ma, na, wa, ha, ya. Okay, le, me, ne, he, we, ye. And even the ain, not ah, or. Okay, so these are the soft letters. The idea is to add a very sort of small smile at the end of the word. So if you just stretch your lips in the form of a smiling form, so it goes across, okay, that will help you emanate the letters in a softer way rather than opening up your mouth wide. So not opening your mouth at all, just stretching it ever so slightly, like you are about to go and smile, or it's a slight smirk rather than a smile. I'm not talking about an exaggerated smile, so you don't need to exaggerate your smile because that will affect the way in which the letter is pronounced. So ever so slightly stretching those lips across, not I'm stretching my lips too much, and that's an exaggeration. So do not do that, please. Right, moving on. Now we've just done soft letters, so let's go on and move on to the heavy letters. Now for the heavy letters, we do move our tongue, and the back part of our tongue will touch this highlighted area, which is at the back part of our mouth, and the tongue should be risen in order to say the letters of al-isti'ala, which means elevation, and they're also known as the tafkhim letters, which are the heavy letters. And these are these heavy letters. So we start with the first one: ha, ha, so, do, go, go, do, ko. I'm not going to say ho, so, do, ho. What have I done differently now? I've circled my lips, and once you circle your lips, and a lot of readers will do that, they tend to circle their lips when they say a heavy letter, and what that does is it produces a unnatural sound. So if I say ho, ho, and I'm pronouncing the letter now whilst rolling up my lips, so I'm making a sort. It's almost like I'm going to whistle. So if you're going to whistle, you have to circle your lips, and once I circle my lips and pronounce the letter ha, it becomes unnatural. I'm putting too much emphasis on my lips rather than at the articulation point of the ha, which is in my throat. So if I say ha, from the back of my throat, or from the closest part to my throat. Ho, 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 he, ho. Now let's roll up my lips. Ho, he, ho, ho, he, ho. Ho, he, ho, without rolling the lips. Ho, he, ho. And with rolling the lips. Ho, he, ho. You will see the difference. The sound is still heavy, but it's not natural when I roll my lips. So try and ask your students not to do that, because that pronounces a uncomfortable and an unnatural sound. Same with the, let's try the vo, the, vo, without rolling my lips, vo, the, vo. Now with rolling my lips up, vo, the, vo. It sounds very unnatural, okay? So same with the ko, ki, ko, from the back part of my tongue, ko, ki, ko. Now let's roll up the lips, ko, ki, ko. So ko, ki, ko, or ko, ki, ko. Can you see or hear the difference between those pronunciations? So heavy letters, raise the back of your tongue. They should be heavy, but do not make the mistake of rolling up your lips, because you start to pronounce even the fatha as a dhamma, okay? So instead of saying ha, you're going to say ho, and it sounds closer to the dhamma, which is a mistake. Al-istifal is to lower the back part of the tongue. So if you look at the light letters, you will see that the tongue is not risen up as it is in the heavy letters, where the tongue tends to rise up. So that is a key in pronouncing the letters, the light and the heavy letters. So in the light letters, you keep the tongue as lower down as possible, and in the heavy letters, you can raise or elevate the back part of the tongue. And that's one thing that you should tell your students, which they fail to do. These are the characteristics that you need to be applying to your heavy tafkhim and tarqiq letters, so that they are not pronounced in the same way. And a lot of teachers are emphasizing on the makharij, but not so much on the sifat, the characteristics of the letters, which is a mistake. Okay, so talking about sifat, we have here a sifat table, which is something that I designed whilst I was taking my diploma. Again, this is an amazing way of revising. So this is, and by the way, if you are teaching, make sure that you test your students on the sifat. They need to memorize these, because they will not be able to read the Quran without having memorized them. They'll forget which ones are the letters, which are hams, shidda, and so on. So for the hams letter, we are whispering, and there's almost like a air or the breath continuing, okay, as in the definition of hams. There is that continuation of breath. Now these letters, you will hear the hams more on the sakin letters, those that are not voweled, rather than those that are voweled. However, on the ha, you should be able to hear it. So if we put hamza in front of all these letters, and this is something that I do with my students when I want them to practice the sifat, I will say put in hamza and put a sukoon on all these letters, and let's pronounce them. So they say af, and then we need to hear the hams. Af. Not too much, not af. We don't want a continuation or pressure of the breath by pressing against the makharij. So af, ash, os, as, ek, at. And that is the hams. I'm applying the hams on all those letters. A lot of students will read these sakin letters by saying off, up, oh, off, oh, osh, ok. Then they're imprisoning the breath, which is incorrect. So those are the letters of hams. Moving on to shidda. Now shidda, it says strength and force. Now, what a lot of people do in letters of, and when we come to the qalqala, we'll talk about that, because the letters of qalqala are also the letters of shidda. But when people read the shidda letters, they think it's only about force, but it's also about timing. What does force mean? It means that there is that imprisonment of the sound. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to say ja, da. Okay, there is no a continuation of that sound. So ejede, qata, bekete. Okay, the sound is not continuing. Now, here you have hams and shidda. So in hams, you have the breath of these letters continuing, but not the sound. So I'm not going to say ak. No, it's the breath that's continuing. Ek. Not ak. I'm not continuing the sound, but the breath. Same with the da. Okay, I'm not continuing the sound. I'm continuing the breath only at. And also, if you realize when I was trying to continue the sound, not only did I make a mistake by making the letter here of shidda into by applying that sound, I also made it heavy. So these are the common mistakes students will do. Tawassut means that these letters, len omar, are in between rikawa and shidda, meaning they don't. This is the shortest time that we need to pronounce these letters. Rikawa means softness, but it means that there is some time taken to say these letters, like sa, so, do. They have a little bit of stretch. It's not that I'm putting mud on them. I'm not stretching these letters, but to pronounce these letters, it takes a bit of time to complete their sound. It takes time. I need to give the time of that letter to the sound of that letter. I need to give the timing of the sound to that letter. The wasat is in between, so le, ne, me, ro. Sorry, me, ro. If you pay attention, you'll hear it's not like le, and it's not like le. No, it's le, ne, me, ro, or re. I'm taking a little bit more time in pronouncing these letters, okay, but they're not letters of shidda. We don't say them very quickly. The letters of isti'al, we've already gone through them, and istifal, so letters that are heavy and letters that are light. Itbaq is a letter of adhesion, which means sticking. So when I say these 4 letters, my tongue should stick into the place of my makharij. This is very important when we say the letter dod. As I said before, my tongue should be stuck to the roof of my mouth. When I say do, I shouldn't say do and bring my tongue down do. Same with the do. My tongue should be stuck up, should be elevated and kept there. Do, not do. It loses the heaviness. So adhesion means anything that sticks. Infita means open, so there is no sticking of the tongue anywhere. Idlaq means to say something in a soft and fluent way. There's no strictness in or imprisonment of sound, breath, and so on. So fa, ro, mene, lebe. And ismat is utmost strength. So there is some strength in those letters. I need to apply some sort of pressure or a sound for those letters in order to pronounce them. And these are the sifat. You should try and ask your students to read something of the Quran where these sifat haruf, these letters are appearing, and you get the students to apply these sifat to those sakin letters. There is so if you download our Tajweed teaching PowerPoint, so we have a Tajweed PowerPoint in a form of PDF. If you download that from our website, you will see a curriculum at the beginning, sort of on the second slide, it will say SOW on the second slide, which is called the scheme of work. Scheme of work basically means the teachers can follow each week what students will be learning. You're welcome to use our resources, they are for free, and help people with teaching the Quran and Tajweed and improving their level. So by the end of this course, students should be able to read the Quran accurately with the accurate sifat and makharij, inshallah. So that is a course that we have designed for students. It is available on our website, cldinstitute.com. So www.cldinstitute, all one word, .com. Inshallah, it should be available at the beginning of this PDF file. Now, these sifat, they have opposites. So, hams and jahr, shiddat, wasat, rikha, they're the opposites, okay, so on. Here, we don't have any opposites. So, the harful leen are those that are soft, okay, so we don't say, way, okay, we just say waylulli, no, waylulli, hulli, sorry, waylulli, hulli, okay, we're going to say the way, because it's not like the huruf al-maddiyah, as you know, and you should ask your students to be able to differentiate between harf leen and between the maddiyah and linear, and the waw of leen and the waw of maddiyah. They are different. When we want to apply the tafashi to sheen, a lot of students, when they are reading this letter sakin, they won't apply. They'll say ashhadu, ashhadu, no, ashhadu, ashhadu. Okay. Qalqala, as I wanted to speak about qalqala is very important, and we are going to go through qalqala inshallah. But one of the things that I wanted to mention, these are the letters of shiddah. So when people pronounce the letters of qalqala, they pronounce them, but they don't pronounce them by taking too long. And because the letter of shiddah means strength, it means to pronounce them quickly. It doesn't mean to prolong the sound of the letters of shiddah, not like rikhawa. So I'm not going to say ak, no, ak. This is qalqala. Qalqala has to be quickly ak, at, ab, aj, ad. Okay, and they don't. A lot of students they say ak, at, ab, and this is not accurate. Okay, I want to hear the vibration. In qalqala, there's two techniques that you should be applying: collision and separation. Collision and separation. Inshallah, we'll go through that. Safir is whistling, so there should be almost like a whistling sound. So. If you notice when I pronounce the letter, so, si, ze, so, se, ze, ze. You'll hear that safir. Decorative repetition. There is a natural repetition in ra. A lot of teachers apply a trailing sound, which is like ar. They push and apply extra takrir. Takrir is natural. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahman. I don't have to say Ar-Rah. No, this is a mistake. And a lot of teachers also make this mistake. Ar-Rahman, they think that because the Ra is mushaddad, they have to make extra takrir. The Ra is natural in takrir. Please look at the video on Ra to understand what I mean when I say trailing. If you apply too much pressure in the makharij of Ra, or you leave too much space, you will not be able to pronounce the letter Ra accurately. Both Ra and La are inhiraf, which means drifting. They drift, and this is when we were speaking about the Lam, we were speaking about how it drifts when you say the heavy Lam. So you can watch that video, inshallah. Istitala, we've already spoken about. It means lengthening, and we're applying that to the letter of Dad. Now with qalqala, obviously I've put them, there's 3 levels, but as I said, there's a collision and separation. So collision means that 2 things hit together and they separate quickly. We cause them to collide, meaning they hit each other, and then they are split apart quickly. So coming together quickly and aparting quickly. So when we say, okay, al-balad, I'm not saying al-balad, balad. No, I'm going to say quickly. So meeting together quickly and then parting quickly. Al-balad, balad. So people slow it down. Al-balad. And they meet. Look, the technique of qalqala is meeting and parting quickly. But they don't meet and part quickly. They'll apply it very slowly. They'll say al-balad, balad. No, al-balad, balad. Okay, meet and split quickly. Al-balad, yanqalib, tajri, hab, Hab. I'm not going to say hablum, hablum. No, hab, hab. Okay, there are 3 levels. There's the greatest and the greater and the lesser. So the greatest is the one with shadda. Watab. Okay, there's that extra sound. Watab. Al-balad. ينقلب إليك تجري حبلum. Okay, hab. It's not as strong as balad. Hab, balad is stronger here, and then this one is the strongest. Tab, because it is mushaddad. Please watch the video if you want to go through the qalqala in more detail. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, we'll continue on from the next video. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.